All right, guys, welcome to a new series where, and to our new channel where we'll be talking about anime, manga, a little bit of wrestling, so on and so forth. It should be fun. No need for names at the particular moment. You'll learn how to get used to us as time goes on, unless you've heard us from something previous, which is always something interesting. I'm here with Micah Padre, and we are talking about the Dragon Ball Super movie. Now, before we get into it, this has been like 2 or 3 years removed, yeah?
Yeah, since you got that request to do it.
Yeah, so it's been a minute. I've rewatched it obviously a bunch of times, as most people. The movie's about an hour and 41 minutes long, but in actuality, there's probably less than 50 minutes worth of dialogue, and everything else basically goes into the particular conflict. Now, this is the retelling of the original Broly movie, if you will. And in a lot of ways, I think they try to reimagine Broly by giving him more. Whereas when we saw Broly in the original movie, he was kind of just a shell. He was just someone who just stood silent.
Yeah.
And when his father, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, like definitely like this Broly would have kicked that other Broly with ass easily.
Agreed. I think by trying to flush him out a little more and giving something to him as it pertains to his childhood and to just generally his upbringing, I think it was a nice touch, to be honest with you. I think they did well by doing it this way. But like I said, we'll explore that a little bit more as we go in. Obviously, the fight sequences and everything are top notch. You might actually get to see some of that in this video, so that's a thing. It was really well played out, to be honest with you. What were your initial thoughts before we actually break it down?
Um Before we started this, like an hour before, I watched the whole movie again,
Nice.
and I took down a bunch of notes. But I don't know, I have conflicting feeling about the movie, honestly.
Okay, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and start the ball off. So if like I said, I just watched it the night before as well. So I just kind of give it a bit of a refresher. It essentially starts off with
Well,
Cooler or King
yeah.
Cooler, right?
Yeah,
Coming to
it was King Cole and Frieza showing up on
yeah, King
Planet
Cooler. Sorry,
Vegeta. Yeah, yeah. I mean
sorry
they
about
they
that.
are they are planning on making Cooler canon, so
Right.
yeah, it's King Cole and young Frieza showing up at Planet Vegeta,
Mhm.
and basically King Cole announced that he gonna hand off everything to his son Frieza, 'cause he's gonna retire effectively.
Retire
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah. And Frieza, being the racist that he is, decided to announce and calling everyone a monkey.
Yeah, he did. It was
Um,
dirty.
yeah, and he was basically showing them the new version of like the scouter that they
The
had,
scouter. Yep.
and he found was it like 3 or 4 snipers
Hmm.
in a different tower, and immediately took them down.
Yep.
Uh,
And in doing that, it only added to, as you'll find out later, it only adds to the mistrust that he has for the Saiyans outside of the legend that he actually had some of the Saiyan force, actually almost the full armada of not Saiyan force, of the Freezer force, if you will,
mm,
go off and investigate the actual legend of the Super Saiyan. They didn't actually go into it too much. They kind of in the movie they kind of just passed it off as just that, as it's a legend. But it just goes to show that Frieza, even though his father didn't seem to be too concerned about it, Frieza obviously was extremely scared of that shit. He's extremely bothered by it.
yeah. And that's another thing. Like, so is a lot of the Dragon Ball movie aren't canon, right?
Right.
So, but this one seemed to be canon, since I guess they are adding Broly into the Dragon Ball Super stories.
Yep. And it
Uh,
took place. It took place immediately after the Tournament of Power, which Vegeta brings up
yeah,
later on.
right. And so it's like the past 2 movies with
Mhm.
God, the
God of
God, yeah, God of Destruction and Return of F.
yep.
So it's gonna be canon. Um, do we consider Bardock movie to be canon as well, where he went back in
Uh,
time and basically became the first Super Saiyan.
I think you kind of have to because that's what sparks the fear within Frieza's race from in the first place.
Yeah, it was like Freezer. That's the name of the ancestor.
I don't know if yeah, it might have been. No, well, no. It oh my god, it starts. It's either I can't remember now. I don't know if it was Frieza or if it was Frozen or if it was just spelled a different type of way or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I can take a quick look actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But if it is considered continuity though, then that means Turbo, right? Am I pronouncing that right? That's Vegeta's brother because he was mentioned in the movie.
right, yeah, I have that in my notes. So yeah, so Tarbo.
Turbo, there we go.
Well, they didn't say his name, but they mentioned that Vegeta have
A brother.
a brother. So so I guess Tarbo is technically canon,
Excellent.
but it might not be how he was portrayed back in DBZ.
True.
See, but then that's kind of weird though because okay, so we can assume that that was like a filler episode, so it's not canon in DBZ, but this version of him should be canon, right?
Right.
So yeah.
Well,
So but before we get to that, so continuing on from the whole plot of the movie, basically after the whole confrontation with Frieza, we switch over to the lab where Broly was in the same room and in one of those septic tank.
Jesus Christ. It's an incubation tank, sir.
I guess.
Wow.
And King Vegeta got in there being salty as shit.
Well, no, initially he was sitting there fucking creaming over, Vegeta's power level. Now, keep in mind, this comes after Frieza was like, yeah, hopefully you guys do it. Frieza already put out the threat that he's like, yeah, I'm probably gonna end up eliminating you guys, so you guys better do good work.
Yeah.
And then King Vegeta goes to the incubation chamber and says that you are my son. You were the one that's actually meant to rule the universe, completely cutting his brother out. So, like I said, we'll talk more about that as this goes along. And basically gushing over the concept that's been in the Dragon Ball series for the longest time, latent potential.
Yeah. And then he turned around and he saw Broly.
Yep.
In his septic tank.
Jesus Christ, bro.
It is what it is, alright?
Alright, man.
And he got mad. He was like, what why is this lowly Saiyan in the same room as my son? Got a little bit salty there.
Now, keep in mind, true, but keep in mind, as the lab technicians had said, his potential is incredible. Matter of fact, they were really, really excited on how strong he is.
Yeah.
And saying that it rivals Prince Vegeta. If not, it could very well overtake him. Which King Vegeta counters that, saying, "What are you talking about? My son has broken every record that's ever been set as it pertains to power level." And they were like, "Well, Broly is he's already there. He's showing insane potential." And then that's when he picked up the little I don't know, that little iPad thing, if you will. It wasn't really an iPad thing. It was like a small scanner, and he puts it onto Broly's incubation tank, and that shit starts to go fucking crazy as Broly's shifts in his emotions slightly, and it ends up blowing up in his hand, which ends up freaking out King Vegeta, but everybody else is like, holy shit. Now, one of the lab technicians kind of got smart and was like, okay, there might have been a slight problem with the calibration. Maybe some of our early tests were off. Hard to say, but his potential is still there. And then the female lab technician, who looked hella sinister, just to point that out, said that his power very well could be, very useful to the Saiyan race as a whole. And in a lot of ways, mirroring the original Broly movie, he could be a great asset to Prince Vegeta as time goes on.
Like, yeah, I think they even mentioned, like, he could technically overtake Frieza eventually.
Yes, eventually.
So, also, I watched the English dub this morning, and that female technician have an interesting accent.
Yeah, she did.
That they gave her. Okay. I guess every anime villain in English dub gotta sound German for some reason.
Night.
Yeah, wow. So, continuing with the whole King Vegeta getting salty, he decided to send Broly away to one of the outlier world.
Now, Broly's father is actually he's not a commander, he's a general, right? Yeah, I think he's a general.
Is he? Is he? He's not the same rank as Bardock, is he?
No, he's a higher rank.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this version, he's a higher rank.
Yeah. So yeah, he basically went to the throne room, asking King Vegeta to reconsider and why to reconsider sending his son out there. Basically saying like he could be an asset to them, but King Vegeta gave him the excuse of, well, you know, like, yeah, he might have all this power, but he could later on be a threat to us as well.
Called him a freak.
Yeah, he is a freak.
He called him like an anomaly, and he was kind of justifying, oh, we're gonna, you know, the Saiyans have always sent younglings off to planets to be taken and sold or whatever. And he's like, yeah, you sending him off to some fucking planet that we don't know jack shit about. What worth is that, or what value is it in that? And then you find out later, I won't jump too far ahead, that this planet was literally in butt fuck Egypt for the most part.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, even Paragus during that time was mentioning like that planet, like there's no intelligent life. It just there's nothing out there to benefit anyone
at all.
So, like clearly, King Vegeta is just doing that just to get rid of Broly.
Now, with that being said, I know he made the threat that, hey, I'm being merciful. I'm sending Broly out here because if not, I could just easily have him eliminated. Why do you think he didn't just pull rank? Meaning King Vegeta. Why do you think he didn't just pull rank and just have Broly exterminated? Not that I'm trying to cue to anything.
I mean, like, it might just be the same reason as in the original movie where he just might not be able to harm him.
Well, remember in the original movie, they actually did try to kill Broly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they stabbed him in the back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe he might have tried that, but it didn't succeed.
But the kid was perfectly. But I mean, if you think about it, though, when we saw Broly later, you know what I'm saying? The kid was in armor. I mean, why bother? Like, why not just send him out there butt naked then? If that's the case, why dress him up and everything and then just send him? If they may have tried to assassinate him at one time or another.
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe, I guess King Vegeta thought that maybe he could try to keep Paragus.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then basically King Vegeta is like, yeah, I already sent the message out to launch the shuttle. So Paragus decided to go after it by stealing one of the spacecraft along with one of the technician on it.
Stealing one of the ships.
Yeah. And apparently there's like we know there's like different rank of Saiyan, but apparently there's like different classes of Saiyan as well. Like we basically find out there's this guy who was on the ship is like a I don't know if he's like an engineering class.
Yeah, or a technician of some type.
Yeah. To where he has never gone into the full the Grey Apes form.
Nope.
So I don't know if that's by choice or is it like the physicality of it?
Well, maybe it's just possible that just there are certain demographics that they don't feel are useful as part of the warrior class or the soldier or the soldier ranks, if you will. So you need technicians, you need cooks, you need all these things. I'm sure he can defend himself in some way, shape, or form. But when they find Broly later, didn't that guy say that his power level was higher than his at that particular time?
Well, but
or was that when he was a baby and that's what happened?
Well, but then even then it wasn't that much of a power because I believe it was like 120, which is that was Broly power. It was 120, so it wasn't even that high.
True.
And
Speaking of which, I looked it up real fast. So, Broly's father was a lieutenant, but at the time when he defected, he was actually a colonel.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so he was up there.
Interesting. So, basically they got to the planet. They ran into they got attacked by a bunch of like those spider aliens,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess they hide out for the night. And once morning came, they they landed on like this big patch of grass, which turned out to be the giant creatures in those craters. That kind of remind me of like the those worm that's in Star Wars where they hide in the craters.
Yeah, in the sand out there in the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they pick up on Broly's signatures or energies in the cave where they basically found him eating those aliens, and they figure he must have like seen the moon and turned into a great apes.
Yeah, because they weren't sure how he was able to take all of them down, and that's when Broly's father walks up to him, grabs him by his tail to make him knock out, and then he's like, "Yeah, his armor has been stretched out."
All right.
So, wow.
And they decide to take him back. The ship was severely broken, so it can't fly anymore.
Right, the hover module was damaged.
Right, and they're running low on their food supplies.
2 days.
Yep. So Paragus decided to pull a dirty move and killed the technician.
That was survival of the fittest, sir.
That's fucked up.
No, it wasn't fucked up. Like, first off, that guy was panicking. Secondly, this dude, obviously, as we spoke about previously, he probably has little to no combat experience whatsoever, and his only true usefulness was fixing that ship and getting them off that fucking planet. He couldn't do that. His usefulness had expired, so
I mean,
you do what you got to do.
They could have like kept him, and if they found like any spare parts or anything on the planet or any material, he could probably fix the ship.
There's possibilities, I agree, but as the guy said, they were royally screwed, as well as the fact that the communication comms didn't even work, which wouldn't have even mattered anyway, because if the Freezer Force or even if the other Saiyans had found out, they would have came out there and eliminated them anyway. So they were literally out there on their own.
But actually, what was interesting was I didn't realize about it was when before right when they land on the planet, that technician guy was like they were talking about not leaving Broly and him there by himself, and he was like, yeah, you can trust me. Then Paragus was like what was it?
Oh yeah, like a trustworthy saying exists.
Yeah. And,
yeah, or something along those lines.
And then basically like Paragus ended up being the one to betray him.
Well, I mean, it was the nature of the beast.
I guess.
Yeah, you're right though, because that's when they crash landed. Because initially, what Paragus wanted was, let's pick my son up, and then I want you to drop us off, and then you can go back home, or you can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, anyway, he blasts dude through the chest, and that was a wrap for him essentially. Excuse me.
So then the next scene we got basically is Bardock coming back to Planet Vegeta, and he mentioned to his crewmate about all of Frieza ship just basically hovering over the planet instead of landing on the planet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he got suspicious of it.
Yeah, and his crewmate there was like, it's not really that big a deal, but no one really likes Freezer anyway. And dude was like, hey, the communicator, and he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And he was like, it must be something important. Maybe they're gonna give us some new tech or whatever the case may be. And he's like, but they needed all of us to reconvene when he could have made an announcement over the radio. Was the real, like, it didn't seem right.
Also, do you think the all the tech that Frieza giving them, all the new tech, is basically just a way to keep a surveillance on them?
I think only a small few. I think Bardock, because he wasn't even wearing his.
Kind of like the NSA,
Yeah, I think Bardock understood it, That's why he wasn't wearing his. I think that's all it was. I think that's the only reason why those scouters were developed that way in the first place. We found that out in a lot of ways when Radix got killed back in the original Dragon Ball Z.
Mm. Basically having basically as the NSF was the national security of Frieza.
Basically. But,
So
but it
yeah, and
only
then,
feeds his paranoia.
yeah, and for some reason I have I wrote down a note Nappa with hair. Wasn't it like saying that a hair a Saiyan hairstyle never changed? Like
I mean,
what happened
they've
to Nappa? What happened?
come on, bro. They've said a lot of things over the years, bro. I was just hoping he'd have like an actual beard, and then eventually he just cut it down to a goatee. That's what I was hoping when we saw Nappa again, but that didn't work.
No,
That didn't happen.
a Saiyan hair never changed, right? Well, actually, I don't know. Because Goku and Vegeta did have beard before, and they shave it off. So
Yeah, they did.
what was it? So yeah, basically going back to before, it was basically Frieza discussing with his crew about the whole Super Saiyan
Yep.
stuff, and he gotta get rid of the monkeys before they become a big problem later on.
Yeah. Oh well, actually, let me jump back just a little bit. So when Bardock and his teammate land and they get off the ship, some hefty dude comes around and says, "Hey, welcome back." Talking his shit. I'm surprised you guys survived.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of inquiring, like, "Hey, what's going on with this? What's the big point of all this meeting?" He's like, "Man, I have no clue. But they pretty much made an order for everybody to show up."
Mm-hmm.
As Bardock slings his bag over his back and walks away, he's like, "It's possible that Frieza is just scared of us, and it's possible that he may be looking to do us in."
Mm-hmm.
And then that's kind of when he comes to the realization, holy shit, what would be the most effective way to get rid of all of us at one time, getting us on the planet?
Right.
And his teammate is basically like, "Well, you don't think he'd really do that? Like, that's unnecessary. They're probably just going to send us off to some high priced planet that needs all the same." I don't know how this guy didn't realize this.
Yeah.
That requires everybody in the Saiyan race to take it. What planet even exists like that?
I think they just been like under his command for so long that they became complacent.
Well, that was another thing they pointed out too, where Bardock was like, we're under King Cole's control. They never really even explained that, like how they got enslaved by King Cole, because he never came across anything that crazy that, what I'm saying, to think that he would be such an issue. But that's debatable. But now that they're under Frieza clearly has a disdain for them. They obviously realize that because it's been, many years since the balance of power was shifted over from father to son. So, you're right. It definitely comes from a level of complacency, but at the same time, contingencies should have been made. King Vegeta realized there's some messed up shit going on. You would have thought he'd have a backup plan.
Continuing with Bardock, he's going back home.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing his wife again. I forgot what her name was.
Yeah, I can't remember her name either.
And they decided to go and see. No, before that they were talking about Raditz, his bitch ass, and how he's part of the military now. So
yep,
he's got dispatched on Vegeta's crew. To a different planet to conquer. And then they went to see little Goku in his tank. And
he looked what's the word I'm looking for? He looked scrawny, but he looked malnourished.
Yeah, he looked tiny. Yeah, they mentioned it, like, yeah, he's very small.
Very small. And he was supposed to be coming out of his tank soon too, yeah?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess basically the Bardock's wife was like, yeah, well, going back to the whole hidden potential.
Right.
And Bardock then explained about his plan to take Goku and steal one of the pod and send him off to a different planet because he have a feeling that they might get annihilated soon because of Frieza and his paranoia.
and his prejudice.
Yeah.
But it's Kakarot. It's Kakarot, sir. Kakarot.
Yeah.
Goku is his human slave name.
What? What? He hit his head. All right. He hit his head.
I'm sorry, man. All right. Yeah. But yeah, he had which is interesting too, because his wife points out, he's like, since when do Saiyan men give a shit about, or not give a shit, but are concerned with anything?
Right.
Like, why does this? Why do you seem so bothered by the situation? And I think that gives us a lot of a really unique look into Bardock's personality, where he's like, all I do is destroy. And for once, I'd like to save something. And if I can do that, then I want it to be my Kakarot. I thought that was a very insightful moment. To be honest with you, that not all Saiyans are just brutes. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, like we see like a lot of the females saying that they're not really warrior. They're just regular people.
Right.
So the two of them went out to, I don't know, fucking some desert play that remind me a lot of the place where Vegeta and Goku first fought.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Like they went out to like some desert place where it kind of remind me of the place where Goku and Vegeta first fought in like these rocky terrain, stuff like that.
Yeah, that kind of did when Vegeta came to Earth the first time.
Yeah.
So that was a good catch.
Yeah. So basically, Bardock and his wife have a whole dialogue with young Goku, who doesn't really, or young Kakarot.
Thank you.
Who doesn't really understand anything, but they're basically saying like, if my instinct were wrong, I'll come to Earth and pick you up.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, not to forget them, blah blah blah, which Goku did forgetting.
Yeah, that was pretty good foreshadowing.
And they mentioned Earth being one of the places where Frieza wouldn't really look because it's like some far off planet that not
in a galaxy that's not really explored or anything.
Right. So he'll be safe there. And they basically send him off and I don't know how long afterward. Because they didn't really explain the timeline really that well. But Frieza decided to pop out in his hover pod and launch his little mini sun down into the planet.
Yeah, the monkey holocaust.
Yeah, filthy monkey.
Jesus Christ. And and it was nice getting to see how they harkened back to the original movie. So you still see Bardock out there like trying to fend off the actual energy ball itself, but he still fails. But it still opens up. It still harkens back to the movie where he may have actually been, thrown back in time. So they still left that there.
But they never really explain how that worked. Like, how did he get sent back in time from that?
Come on, man. It's typical bullshit logic. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there'll be some type of rip in time space that happened at the point of impact on top of his. Spirit.
They did that in this movie during the energy blast of Goku Gogeta and
Broly.
Yeah. But we'll get into that later.
Yes, sir.
So then basically that's the introduction of the movie. And then the next thing we got was no. Actually no.
No, we have to.
The next thing we got was like Vegeta, Raditz and Nappa being informed that planet Vegeta was hit, quote unquote, by a meteor and got wiped out.
Yeah. Now there was 2 other Saiyans with them, right? Or was there 3? There was like 6 of them in all, right? Yeah. Or was it just 5?
I don't remember the exact number, but there were other Saiyan with them.
Yeah, they Raditz. What was it? Raditz that said that, hey, it was a good thing that we ignored the order to go back home.
Yeah, and then Vegeta was pouting in the corner.
Hey man, he was robbed of his birthright, bruh.
It was like, I guess I'm never gonna become King Vegeta.
And interestingly enough, when he said that, Nappa and the other dude were kind of taken back, like, damn.
Yeah, and they were like, well, what? Didn't you have a brother? What do you think happened to him? And Vegeta was like, well, I don't really care.
Yeah, he said it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And then
and then they mentioned about Raditz brother Goku.
and that right there was actually something that people kind of missed. If you go back and look, Raditz was like, yeah, he was probably sleeping in his nursery. And then he was like, wait, I think mom said they were going to send him off planet.
Right. Yeah.
Which would tie into how Raditz was able to find him later.
Mm-hmm. And
but the older Saiyans seemed disturbed. Like they were like, "The fuck?" And these kids are just like, whatever.
Right, and then basically after that we got like a whole, I kind of like a whole montage of the whole Dragon Ball series, and they did like kind of like a calendar flip throughout the years from Dragon Ball all the way up to the Tournament of Power.
Yep.
And I thought that was kind of a cool like callback to everything. What do you think about that? I agree.
It makes it shows that their history has value, and the growth that they had leading up to where they're at now, despite the fact that Goku has shown no growth, but whatever.
Yeah. And then the next thing we got was Goku and Vegeta sparring on a goddamn private island.
Hey man,
wasteful spending.
That's what the waifu deserves.
Yeah,
sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah. Sure.
Don't ever question the decision of my Bulma. I mean, Vegeta's Bulma.
Wow. And so, and then the next thing we got was a sit down, and we basically asking Goku and Vegeta like, why did they continue to train, even though they have already reached such height in their powers. And Goku kind of gave the typical Goku answer. With seeing so many strong opponents in the Tournament of Power made him want to get stronger.
Then Whis asks Vegeta, and then Vegeta interjects, and he's like, "Dude, we just came out of the Tournament of Power. Like, can you be a bit more rational about our situation?" Whis ends up posing the same question to Vegeta. Well, what about you? Yeah. And he's like, to get back at Frieza.
Right.
So in a lot of ways, you see Frieza's paranoia in a lot of ways be transferred to Vegeta in some sense. Like, this dude achieved golden form. It's very possible that he's going to try to grow stronger to overtake us. I need to still be on guard, because if this idiot right here didn't wish him back, we could finally get him up and out.
And that's another thing that I wrote in my notes, which is like, do you think Frieza could end up getting another form after golden form, like fucking well, what's after golden, like platinum form or fucking diamond form, diamond Frieza.
Well, if we remember, like I said, depending on how they introduce Cooler to us later, if Cooler ends up getting the form that he got in the original Dragon Ball Z movies,
right?
There's just in his not base form, but in his actual Frieza form, there's still one more form he needs to achieve, even before we start talking about gold and platinum and whatever.
Right.
And it's very clear that Frieza wants to continue to raise his battle power as much as he can. Right. Now, granted, the montage, if you will, back in the Freezer movies where he goes into like a couple month training segment and that's how he achieves gold was an ass pull. But it's clear that he's gonna go out of his way to do what he can to strengthen himself. Mm-hmm. I think there's probably another form. I'm sure.
I mean, so like if Cooler does end up being canon, I feel like they're gonna like not do the whole mecha Cooler, but they'll still use like the same kind of style, where like he have like that metallic look. But that would be like his new form.
That'd be like something more organic, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
So it'd be like, I don't know, like silver Cooler or some shit like that. so it'd be kind of like the whole, like the
Cooler.
Oh yeah, or like Mithril Cooler. but I'm thinking more of the line of like silver Cooler, so that way it'd be like the silver and gold myth in Asia. Myth and stuff like that.
True.
Like fucking Ginkaku and Kinkaku or some shit like that.
Yeah. Didn't they have in Naruto? It was the Gold and Silver brothers.
Yeah,
Yeah, like something similar to that, and they had special properties because of their lineage.
yeah.
So yeah, I could see that. I could see that easily happening. I'm hoping they don't introduce that until they introduce Cooler. I'm
Oh,
hoping that's when we actually get to see that, though.
yeah, yeah. I think that'd be cool. And then Bulma got a call from Trunk informing that her lab had been broken into,
Yeah,
which
on
is
some SWAT
stupid.
team ninja shit.
Yeah, which is stupid because like even Vegeta said like the lab should have been
More secure.
more secure. Even though
Uh-huh.
she got all this money that she's wasting on an island instead of reinforcing her lab.
Here's
Where
the thing:
where
how
where
did they know?
where she have the Dragon Balls
Six
and the
of
way
them.
to find them? Yeah.
Well, here's my thing: how did they? How did they know what lab to hit?
I mean,
Because her and her
I'm
father have
sure,
multiple labs.
I'm sure Frieza or someone figure out some shit because that one alien guy, like the yellow one,
Yeah,
managed to get information on how to summon Shenron, so he must have
touche.
known somehow about fucking Earth. Like I don't know, maybe he was like working undercover on Earth as like a fucking taco truck guy or some shit.
But wouldn't it also be fair to say that um that Frieza would have remembered some of his experiences on Namek, and then they just kind of put two and two together?
Well, the way to summon on Namek is a little bit different as well. So
True, but Frieza does know that there are Dragon Balls on Earth, right?
right.
And given now, I'm still having a hard time dealing with the fact that he knew where did he first off, how did he know exactly where Vegeta lived, right? And Bulma lived and whatnot. And then yet again, how do you know it was that laboratory? Trunks
Well,
didn't say anything about anything else getting hit.
I mean,
Just that
well,
laboratory.
actually, before the Tournament of Power, didn't Frieza
Uh-huh.
end up coming to the place where Bulma, technically Bulma's lab is at?
You're
Before they
didn't
instant,
they?
yeah, before they got transferred to the stage.
Yeah, because that's where Piccolo and Android 17 met up
Yeah.
and whatnot. And they kind of yeah, you're right.
So they were in the garden. So I'm sure he told his lackeys where it's at.
That's fair. That's fair.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So those guys took the stuff and the two guy were like super fodder tier because they have to be like so weak that Vegeta and Goku could not detect them.
Or the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they have to be like fuck below Yamcha level if that's possible.
Hurtful. Hurtful.
How's that hurt?
It's hurtful, bro.
Like,
I mean, how many L's are we gonna keep passing out to Yamcha? This is the first episode on this channel. We're gonna be throwing a lot of L's at Yamcha later on. I'm just saying, bro.
until
That's a lot.
until he hang himself. No, I'm just kidding. That's fucked up.
Jeffrey Epstein himself.
What?
I mean, well, sorry. Let's continue. My bad.
Yeah. So they took the Dragon Radar and the sixth Dragon Ball, and they're headed to the ice continent where the last one's at.
Right, the one that Bulma said she didn't retrieve because it was too cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she decided to strapped up and fly there with Goku and Vegeta and Whis.
Mm-hmm.
And Beerus didn't want to come, so he ended
He
up
babysitted.
babysit Bola.
Yep. The Saiyan princess, sir. Don't ever forget it.
I guess.
Wow.
But we obviously know who's the superior one. It's Pam.
It's not bad. Oh, she's just older. That's all.
I mean, do you see Bola flying out of planet Earth?
You got a point. You got a point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then we
Do you
found out.
see? Do you see Pan though? Literally having the god of destruction. You know what I'm saying? Being her lackey. No. So everybody
Hey.
has their strengths where they have them, sir.
I guess. The only reason was because of her mom. All right. Family connection.
Wow.
So we went up finding out why Bulma and Frieza technically want to collect the Dragon Balls, both for vanity reasons.
Yep.
Bulma just want to look younger, and Frieza want to grow taller. That's the whole plot. Well, the main plot of Frieza wanting the Dragon Balls, which is to grow taller, and like that's one of my gripes. I'm like, okay, I get it. It's kind of funny, but like, really, that's the plot. Come on.
That's a waste of a wish. Yeah.
So they got there. Actually, no. What was the next one? So the next part we got to was Chi-Lai. That's the green girl, and her shipmate flying through these asteroid field and getting to the planet where Broly and Paragus is has been for how long has it been on there?
A number of years.
Cause like Goku and Vegeta is like in their 50s, right?
No, I don't think Goku and Vegeta are that old. I think
Are you sure?
I think yeah, I'm pretty confident Goku and Vegeta are probably in like their late 30s.
No, they can't be.
I'm gonna look it up now. I don't think they're that old.
I think they're in their 50s.
Because okay, right here, like Broly's father was 80 at the point that he clocked out. So let's see how old Broly is.
Broly gotta be around the same age.
Says he was born in the or his age is 732. That doesn't help anything, obviously. When were you born? Like, is there a year for that?
I mean, you could look up Goku and Vegeta Earth age.
Oh yeah, that'll work.
So they all should be around the same age.
Goku's 40. You're right. Goku's 46 and Vegeta is 51.
Okay, yeah. So Broly probably around like 50, 51.
Yeah, he's closer to Vegeta's age.
Yeah. So they've been there for like over 40 years. That's a long while.
So that's a long ass time. Yeah.
Yeah. And Paragus looked all kind of fucked up.
I can't say he's about 80, give or take.
Still. So Chi-Lai rescued them and took them to Frieza. And Frieza give his whole bullshit dialogue how Planet Vegeta was hit by an asteroid or a meteor. And Paragus
or a comet, one of the two.
Yeah, and Paragus say he didn't have any love for the planet anyway, because he couldn't get his revenge on King Vegeta.
Trail.
Yeah, and then Frieza decided to reward Chi-Lai and her mate with some kind of currency. And decided to give Broly and Paragus a room so they can get changed and all nice and shaven, and give them the opportunity to take revenge on Vegeta, since King Vegeta is no longer a thing.
Now, what is your thoughts on that? Where we get the shift from Broly being pissed off that Goku cried too much in the original, to now Vegeta's actually the target because of the sins of his father.
Well, I mean, even that, I don't think Broly really care about that. Broly is just more of like a puppet for his father.
Yeah.
At that moment.
Right.
Rather than having like an actual grudge.
Like a personal gripe about it.
Right.
Right.
And then we end up finding out about how Paragus has been controlling Broly the entire time. Was basically putting on like a shock collar on him. Every time he gone berserk, he'll send like a jolt of shock to get him to calm down. I don't know how that worked, but okay.
I think honestly it was just like in the original, where eventually Broly was gonna he was gonna outgrow it. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like his power is so strong that eventually it wasn't gonna work. So
Yeah.
him getting
Like,
getting
Broly, calm down.
yeah, that show was gonna eventually lose its usefulness sooner than later. And then Broly tells us his tragic story.
Yeah. About how Goku Goku long as schlong was hitting him.
Wow.
Yeah. And the only way to calm him down is get Princess Trunk.
The hell? What kind of fan fiction are you reading, man? Get back to the movie.
Team 4-star.
Wow. Wow. Big ups to Team 4-star though.
Yeah. Okay, so next thing was they were in like a cafeteria on Frieza's ship.
Mm-hmm.
And this alien decided to hit up on Homegirl's Chi-Lai, trying to get some of that green booty.
Green lives matter.
Yeah. Shout out to Piccolo.
Exactly.
And Broly decided to step in and intervene. Looked like he was about to destroy this guy, and then Paragus shock him, hit him with that doggy shock collar.
Shot caller, yeah.
And basically telling Chi-Lai to like it's not her place to tell them what to do, even though she rescued them. Blah blah blah. And he decided to leave. And actually no, did Broly mention about his animal friend Ba before
I think
Paragus came in?
I don't know if he did it before that or after. I feel like he did that after the fact. Because that kind of like further reinforced on.
Oh right, yeah, because that was in like where they were in like this weird room with like all the pipe.
Yeah.
And he was eating food and having water for the first time. I don't know how that's possible that he never had water for 40 years. But okay.
Maybe that's that slime that he was eating. Maybe it had enough. I don't know. I don't know. It certainly was high in some type of nutrients.
For some reason, though, in my mind, I was thinking like, damn, did he drink blood the entire time to keep hydrated?
Oh, you mean from those like those? Well, maybe when the creatures drink that blood, maybe they convert it into something else. I don't, basically, yeah. Basically, he was a vampire.
Basically. Castlevania.
Dragon Ball edition.
Yeah. And he basically retelling the story of how he basically became friend with this monster, this green furry monster, throughout his time training with him. And Paragus didn't really like that, so he decided to cut off the monster ear.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, the monster didn't react the same way ever again. So Broly decided to keep the ear as basically part of him, and it became his clothing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We just kind of see like the whole backstory of how Broly, he really never have a childhood, and he just basically been his dad puppet the whole time.
Pretty much. And what little bit of humanity that he did have, he essentially had to hide it because his father wanted him to completely throw that away.
Yeah,
because
I mean,
like, a weapon.
Right, because I mean, like, basically his whole mentality currently is like that of like a child who doesn't know anything.
Right.
So that's why he basically being groomed as by his own father. But he been groomed by his own father just for revenge on King Vegeta and Vegeta. What's the next part? So next thing we know, Vegeta and Goku end up at the ice continent, fully in the whole swag, swag and everything. With Bulma and Whis there, and they saw the two alien that broke into the lab, and those boys decide to dip out there before Vegeta shot down. the ship, and Goku hop on it. And for some reason they had like a southern accent to these alien.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. This I've heard some weird things happen at the casting couch. I mean, the
Wow.
audition
Wow.
studio over there.
Wow.
Sorry, my bad.
Wow.
My fault.
But and then luckily for them, Frieza ended up showing up on time and got the Dragon Balls using his fucking telekinetic power. Which has that ever been explained? How he had that power?
How Frieza has telekinesis?
Yeah.
No, it hasn't. I mean, to be honest with you, it's probably just his Kai energy or his
Because that's
ki
like,
energy just
I
moves
feel like
around.
that's a lot of like unexplained ability that we never seen before
True.
being used in this movie. But I'll go into that later. So, Frieza introduced Paragus and Broly to Vegeta and Goku,
Mhm.
and Paragus decided to got mad at Vegeta, um, complaining about his father, and Vegeta's like, well, it's not really my problem.
It's really
That's
not.
my dad.
Yeah.
And Goku step in, and he's like, yeah, it's not his problem. So, he let Broly go loose, and Broly decided to charge in, and this is where all the action is pretty much started.
Yep.
If you want to get into that.
All right. So the initial going after Vegeta first kind of went back to the point that I was making earlier about how it was kind of it's the flip of the coin, if you will, or it's just a different side or a different route that they took from the original, where Broly's obsession was with Goku, but now by his father's own uh, seeking of revenge, he's basically instilled that into his son to go after Vegeta.
Mm-hmm.
As they kind of go along, Vegeta is just like, this is just another day in the park. But Vegeta makes some pretty good observations on how even though he hasn't had any real contact with anybody, at least as far as they know, he understands his Saiyan ability enough to where he has some grasp of it. As the fight continues, he starts to come to the Vegeta starts to come to the note to the realization he's learning as he fights, which means he has no established style.
Right.
He's literally just putting it together as he goes, which is incredibly useful if anybody who watches mixed martial arts or boxing or something along those lines. And it's rare to see that for someone of his age, as we've already established.
Right.
And as the fight continues,
he's adapting to the fight as it goes on.
Mm-hmm.
I guess both energy wise and fighting style wise.
Yeah. And he's actually mimicking a lot of what he's seeing too.
Yeah.
Which was cool. So as the fight continues, Vegeta eventually just gets tired of the bullshit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Broly's getting some hits on him. He's starting to adjust to his movements.
Mm.
So he decides to go Super Saiyan.
Well, actually, let me jump in there real quick. So
yeah, no problem.
Before the Super Saiyan form, Vegeta kind of like did this thing where I guess he tapped into the power, but not fully transform, to where he have like the golden aura around him, but he didn't like transform to Super Saiyan form. So like, what do you think that was? Because you mentioned yesterday where before we saw the videos where throughout the whole transformations sequence during the movies, like we can kind of see like a glimpse of the green tint of the legendary Super Saiyan.
Oh, touche. That gold aura, if you will, maybe tapping into some of the power of the great ape, just to a much lesser extent.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, and since Vegeta has been proven to have much better, because I'm pretty sure this is established, he has much better control over his power, if you will, or he's much more precise, let's say, with his power than maybe Goku is. I could see him being able to tap into that little by little without having to fully go into Super Saiyan. And in a lot of ways, it's it's kind of telling because Vegeta's always been known to kind of play with you for a minute and then go straight into overkill. Whereas Goku likes to kind of cycle through his power or through his stages to kind of draw out the best of his opponent while drawing out the best of himself. So that's my initial thought of that.
Okay.
Um, Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So yeah. So basically continuing with the fight, we got Vegeta then enter his Super Saiyan form, right?
Yep.
And impressively, Broly still managed to keep up with the fight
Mm-hmm.
entirely up until Vegeta entered the Super Saiyan God form, and that's when we find out that Vegeta can enter that form. How you feel about
Now,
that?
well, one, I like the fact that when he entered into that form, he had to be almost in like this calm, almost zen-like state when he does it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there was no like real anger or malice when he entered into it. You know, as he flies up towards the sun or up higher to towards the sky, I should say. He kind of just closes his eyes and he kind of just kind of focuses on that energy, and then it just kind of took him over, if you will, which is in sharp contrast to when they actually enter into blue. Like you see more of the rage, you see more of the aggression, whereas red was a bit more. I don't know. It was a bit more controlled. It was a bit more. It's a whole different type of mind state, and you kind of see that with Goku later, if you think about it.
Okay.
Also, I do want to point out, um, how Vegeta got there is I guess, my next real question, but we'll talk about that later because I'd be jumping ahead and whatnot. But it was watching Goku go into red and then watching Vegeta go into red. It makes me question how does Super Saiyan God Red work? Because when we first saw it, Goku needed basically everybody to get him there, and then through muscle memory, essentially, he was able to go back. But now it makes me question how Vegeta was able to do it.
I mean,
And
Vegeta did train with Whis and Beerus for quite a while before Goku ended up joining them.
right,
So I wouldn't be surprised. Well, maybe he haven't achieved it then, but maybe he kind of have like some kind of hint or an idea of it. And then after Goku started training with him, maybe they exchanged information, and it kind of got to there before they both reach Super Saiyan Blue.
possible. Okay, so Vegeta goes into red, and the fight itself, I think, at that point, just it's a different type of ball game. Like it's completely different because at this point, Broly has he's starting to go on to the fritz. Like he's literally starting to lose it. And once Vegeta goes into red, it was a different story. Like you saw how he was shooting off his god energy, which is almost like a transparent or translucent type of energy, and Broly was completely overpowered by it. And even when he was able to retaliate, um, it had little to no effect. That's when essentially Broly's father's like, "Yo, the fight's over." He tells Frieza's like, "Is this really the extent of your son's power?" And he's like, "For right now," which piques Frieza's interest. But he's like, "All right, fair enough. Call your dog back and let's go." Right. And Vegeta, on the other hand, is like, "Man, fuck this. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, what a waste. Since you're nothing more than a lackey, you're not useful." Goku tries to intervene, saying that's enough, and Vegeta hits him with the it's not big. Yeah, it was a ki blast. I wanted to say Big Bang, but hits him with a ki blast, knocks Broly into the waters essentially, and clearly he's not dead, but he's hurt, and well, that's when shit got real.
Yeah, he got the green aura, which is which got explained by Paragus to be the innate power of a great apes without transforming.
Right.
But he doesn't have any control over it, so he basically loses his sanity.
Yep.
And he became like a berserker. Yeah. So going back to what you were saying before, like the green aura is probably just the tapping into the power of great apes, to where a legendary Super Saiyan can potentially unlock the full potential of that, as compared to like a regular Saiyan warrior. And that's what make them like so powerful, even in their base form. As compared,
Oh no, I'm sorry. I agree with you 100%. I think but when the way they had illustrated this, or the way that this was animated, they were very precise to put they were very, let me reword that. They had the intent of showing you when Goku and Vegeta both transform that you see that legendary aura, or you see that green aura, right? Which leads me to think that, we've gotten gold, we've gotten red, we've gotten blue, so green's going to be next. And they're already there. And I think that's why in a lot of, well, sorry, I'm jumping the gun a little bit. I think green is the next step. Clearly. I think what you're seeing with Goku and Vegeta is, whereas Broly was able to go into green or into legendary innately, I think this is like the next step for Goku and Vegeta. They need Broly to do it.
Hey man, did you forget about Rose?
You know what, man? He's black.
He's not black. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. That man isn't black.
That right there goes into that'll be a whole nother video in itself, because that's an amazing conversation that we've already had, where how God energy can affect a Saiyan in a certain type of way, or how different energies can affect a Saiyan. And if you look at Broly, especially as the fight goes on throughout this movie, you see him absorbing more and more of Goku and Vegeta's energy in a lot of way, and using it to his own advantage, as we see with Goku shortly, because we're coming up on that part now, actually.
Actually, is he absorbing, or is it like the Zenkai power-up thing that Saiyan have?
It has to be a little bit of both, but
yeah, I mean, like Goku did pull some bullshit where, even though it's not really canon, he absorbed the spirit bomb. Even though that never really explained how.
Oh, well, are we talking about when he did that against
in the Broly movie? The old one.
Oh,
like, remember, like he made a spirit bomb and then absorbed that shit?
He did that. That wasn't against Broly. That was against. Are
you sure?
That was Android 14, 15, and 16. Remember, because you're talking about when they were out there in that frozen, out there in the Arctic, right? And it was Goku, Trunks, Vegeta. I think Kid Gohan was there, and Krillin. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that's where we saw that. That's when he created the spirit bomb, right? And then he turns.
Yeah, I guess it must have been Android 13.
Yeah,
wait, how did he took out Broly in the original one?
In the original movie, he basically asked everybody to share their energy with him, and Vegeta, as Vegeta always is, held out and whatnot. Trunks was doing it, Gohan was doing it, Piccolo was doing it, and Goku begged, and I want that to be on record. Goku begged for Vegeta to share his energy with him.
I mean, Vegeta, if Vegeta wasn't being such a bitch for the first half of the movie, crying how he's too strong, you can't beat him.
I don't want to talk about that, but that's true. That did happen, and I am very much ashamed of that. Vegeta shares the last of his energy with Goku, and then passes out, and that kind of like powered Goku up essentially, and that's how he went at Broly. Yeah, but the one you're talking about with the spirit bomb though is
Android 13,
14, and 15. Yeah, it was in that movie.
Bro, wasn't like one of the android was like purple and he's a midget and he have a drinking problem?
Yeah, and he was dressed up like a pimp. That was the one that Vegeta was fighting. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting, Toei. Interesting.
Very, very interesting. And he might have. It may or may not have been implied that he might have been. Anyway, interesting indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Basically, Broly power up real hard
yep.
and started to fight and kind of starting to overpower Vegeta a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Until Goku decided it was his turn to fight him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Goku decided to fight him in base form for a reason, even though he see how much Broly has already like overtaken Vegeta, even in his Super Saiyan God form. And basically, Goku got fucking mollywop. Well, let me get to that part later.
Yeah, we'll get to that part.
Yeah. So he got overwhelmed by Broly in his base form and decided to go Super Saiyan God Red. And here's one of the moves that he pulled out that I don't ever remember.
Remember, he cycled through Super Saiyan first.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then he went into Red. Which, now that we're there, you remember how he went into Red, where he kind of like, it was almost like he put out some of the Super Saiyan energy and then reabsorbed it back into himself, and he went into Red. It was similar to what Vegeta did. So I wonder, did Whis and Beerus teach them to take your energy, take that rage, if you will, that comes out of Super Saiyan, and somehow actually control it, condense it, and bring yourself to a calm state, and that's how you can turn all that into Red. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that's possible, because like, I mean, Beerus might not know much about it, but I feel like Whis might know, and that could possibly be a hint of how they reach Blue, which is by doing the opposite, like you say earlier. Instead of being in like this tranquil state, it's more of a rage thing.
Okay.
Goku enters Super Saiyan God Red and pulled this very interesting technique that we haven't seen before, or at least I don't remember seeing, where he used the Super Saiyan Red energy to stop Broly's movement. So like, I don't. What do you think about that? Like, I don't remember or known if I ever seen him using that.
No, that's the first time he's used it, but that's what I think he took that move from Hit. It's a variation of the time freeze.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. And then
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You can go ahead.
I think it's a variation of time freeze, which we saw Hit do during the Tournament of Power. So I'm thinking that's where that comes from, because the only other time we ever saw, well, maybe not ever saw, because I might be forgetting something here or there, but the only time you can ever remember a freeze ability like that was Goldo, of part of the Ginyu Force.
Yeah,
but that was on Namek, and Goku didn't see that fight. So
I feel like it's not really like a time technique. It's more like
well, he's using his energy. Well, he's using his energy to restrict his movements. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's like a variation of like time freeze, so to speak. So that might have not been the best analogy.
I feel like it's more like the Force. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I can go with that.
Yeah, but then he decided to like give Broly the talk no jutsu. You know, and that didn't turn out well for him, because I mean, Broly was calm for a bit, but then he got mad again.
Yeah, he was actually. It looked like he was actually getting through to Broly for a minute.
Yeah, and then Broly, green energy just overtaking the Super Saiyan God Red energy and basically doing the same thing to Goku.
He turned it back on him.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting how like Broly energy alone, and you gotta remember this is in his base form. Not even in Super Saiyan form yet, was able to overturn a god energy like that.
Which I think is a testament not only to Broly, but to the Saiyan race themselves.
Right.
So.
And after that, it was just a slaughter of Super Saiyan God Red Goku. He got spun around, got his face dragged on this wall of ice, got spin around.
hear him screaming. God damn!
Like Broly manhandled Goku, Super Saiyan God, Red Goku.
Yeah, he did.
So hard to the point where Daddy Piccolo had to step in and be like, "Yo, are you good, son? You need me to tap in?" Out of nowhere, Piccolo.
Exactly.
But then even that Piccolo, like, it seemed kind of bad, but I don't think I should step in there. Cause I might get in your way.
Exactly. I'm gonna stay out of this one, my guy.
Yeah, but I'll be on the line.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll be on the line if you need help. And Goku was like, "Yeah, I'll teleport there if things get bad."
Things got bad.
Yeah, and it was like, Piccolo, please tell me you have some senzu.
Exactly. Nope.
So, no. Yep. And then he proceeds to get picked up again by Broly. And yeah. Oh wait, no.
He was in the blue.
Yeah. He went to blue. Decided to rip off his orange gi.
Yep.
And transform into blue, and that's when we see the green aura as he transformed. And something else that I picked up during that transformation was I don't know if it's just me that saw this, but you can kind of see like the sliver of tint of like the Ultra Instinct in Goku transformation into blue. What did you pick up during that scene?
Okay, so eyes are bloodshot red.
Yeah, I try to include a clip in the video when I edit it.
Oh shit, you're right. That's a nice catch. I never noticed that.
Yeah, so I saw that and I was like, okay, that's interesting. Like, but then again, like it could just be animation choice.
Yeah, but you remember, but now that you brought that up, you remember a couple years back when we were all kind of, this is before the movie came out, and we were all gushing over the spoiler, like the spoiler trailers and everything for Tournament of Gods. And remember how we saw like Super Saiyan God Red, but it was like even more spikier than usual, and everybody was kind of like, oh shit, there's another form, or there's another level to Super Saiyan God Red, which is a theory that I have as well. In between, like there's levels of Super Saiyan God Red, just like we've always talked about, like there's levels of Super Saiyan God Blue. We saw that with Vegeta during the Tournament of Power. Do you think, but yeah, I never noticed that. So I guess Goku retained, Goku retained it, basically, because it's a technique, it's not a form.
Right.
Maybe it's something innately linked to Blue.
But also another interesting thing another thing that kind of stuck out to me was why didn't Vegeta go into the advanced Super Saiyan Blue form? Do you think like it's because he couldn't unlock it then during this fight, or is it's like something that you have to like train on to be able to use it?
He's probably still very much expanding on it. He's probably still experimenting with it. And the amount of stress that probably puts on the body, what I'm saying? Like, we saw later on in the Tournament of Power, like, how taxing that shit was.
Right.
So, he probably didn't feel a need to bring that out at this particular point. I mean, that's more like, at this point, I think it was like a desperation type situation.
Right, and like, another thing that, to add on to what you just say earlier, how there might be multiple stages to Super Saiyan God Red and Super Saiyan God Blue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they'll end up somehow in like one of the future arc or saga if they continue that far along? Do you think they'll give Vegeta basically an equivalent of that to Super Saiyan 3, but it'll be in like blue form?
I think so.
If they have like multiple stages, just that way, like it gives Vegeta something, and it'll be funny if they do that, and it'll be a form that Goku cannot achieve.
I think so, because even as you look at Goku's Super Saiyan level 3, it's still incomplete. Like the stamina drain on him is still pretty ridiculous.
Mm.
So giving Vegeta a level 3 through Super Saiyan God Red or Blue, I think it tips the scales, and
Right.
it would be hella funny if Goku couldn't achieve it, because at least the way they make it seem, Vegeta can't achieve Red, or he stopped. I wouldn't say he stopped trying, because that Vegeta doesn't stop trying. It's something that he doesn't feel a need to shoot for,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
And it could
Which
be
doesn't make a whole lot of sense in itself.
right, and like since in the manga, spoiler alert, since Vegeta is being trained to be a god of destruction,
Mm-hmm.
like it could be ties to it. So it'd be kind of cool to see that.
Would be. And another spoiler alert: Vegeta has been given Ultra Instinct and or not Ultra Instinct, sorry, Instant Transmission,
Mm.
and like the Yardrak techniques and whatnot, which is something I think Vegeta needs, and how he's utilized it so far is, I think, way more effective than we've seen Goku do it.
Right, because like
So-
Goku basically he didn't really like fully master the whole energy control of the Yardrat
Right.
as compared to Vegeta. I think Vegeta had like more of an advanced training.
Mm-hmm.
So he have more of like an idea of the energy control technique that the Yardrat use, and like I said, that could be like a way to unlock further of his Super Saiyan Blue form. It's just like manipulating energy and like maybe redistribution of energy in like a more efficient way.
I agree.
So yeah, but yeah, that was a tangent, but
It's a good one though.
yeah. So, Goku fight in blue form, and the fight got really crazy because they went into like the fucking Earth core.
Yep.
Into the lava, or is it lava or is it magma?
I want to say it's probably more magma than lava.
Yeah.
Even though-
I should know what it is, but I don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fight in the liquid fire, all right.
All right.
And that shit was kind of dope. Not gonna lie, I like the whole animation of it. And basically, it dragged on too long because Vegeta got impatient and decided to jump in there. And during one of the scene where Goku was using the Kamehameha and Vegeta was using the Gallic gun, that was a cool scene with the whole animation of like them spinning around back to back and then fire off at the same time.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that? The whole sequence.
It was well played. It was well done. It shows that like there's a level of that innately. There's a level of coordination between the two.
Yeah.
And that's something that's well needed. But before that scene, let's go to when Broly was still fighting Goku in blue, and you see Broly like create those two fucking green orbs, and and the anime, like, hopefully you can end up editing that in, but when you see these two green orbs and he ends up tossing them at Goku when they explode, you see like this, like, it's actually quite beautiful, to be honest with you. This kind of like swirling mass of like green energy, right?
Right.
And then like all the different details that were in it, which yet again only feeds into like the potential that Broly has to have all that power to at the point where he's at, and he's still kind of at ground level if you really think about it.
Right.
Because there's not a lot of technique there yet. There's a lot he doesn't know.
Yeah, but
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, the whole scene was very well animated and everything was very well executed.
There you go.
But jumping back a little bit, I forgot. I just completely jumped over this, but Frieza decided to pull some dirty shit. Yeah. I'm like, hey, asking Park, is this the extent of his power? And Park is like, for now. And Frieza decided to execute the monkey.
Yep.
and pull some dirty shit and be like, Broly, your father was hit by a stray laser.
Yeah, energy blast.
Yeah.
And then Broly freaks the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most epic scenes in that shit
Right. Yeah.
is when he finally lets all of his power go, and my man rises up out of the fucking ground with the red eyes and shit.
And yeah, and like the energy became like green, like star flashes.
Yeah,
That was cool.
That shit was insane.
And then in the background you can hear like the Broly theme.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a cool part. That was a cool part in the movie too, where whenever kind of like a game select where like a character enter and you get like their name being announced.
Yep,
I like that. That was pretty cool.
I will
So,
say.
Broly went full on legendary Super Saiyan on their asses, and it got to the point where they have to flee and decide to use Frieza as like a scapegoat.
Right.
And Frieza like, you can't do this to me. I'm the monarch. And oh, go ahead.
Oh no, my bad. Before Frieza basically got forcefully tagged in, he got the blind tag.
Bro, he got blown back.
It got beat the fuck down. I like how right before Broly's father got killed, I like how Broly's father comes to the realization like, holy shit, maybe King Vegeta was right. Maybe maybe his power is way too fucking outlandish, and it's way too destructive, which only piqued Frieza's interest, and that led to Frieza murking his ass to see what this power actually entails, what it actually can do. I just wanted to point that part out. I'm sorry.
Yeah. See, but I feel like that's not fair to Broly either, because like he was being raised in such a manner where it's just he didn't have a proper education.
No, I didn't.
In growing up, so that more of that is added into his uncontrollable rage as like a berserker class of Saiyans, whereas like it had King Vegeta, I guess, being more benevolent and understanding, and if the planet didn't get blown up, I feel like Broly could have like a much greater potential.
Now, but with that being said, if let's say that Goku and Broly both got sent off the planet at the same time, and they went to Earth together, right? And let's say one trips and bumps his motherfucking head, and the other one, I don't know, for whatever reason, is not ultraly aggressive, and they're both raised up together. Do you think, for all the techniques and skills that Broly could have developed, as well as not having the frustration of not having a proper education and not having enough social skills, right? Do you think that would have hindered his power? Whereas being put on that being raised on that hellacious planet under those conditions, only being taught to essentially destroy.
I mean, I guess you gotta think about the pros and cons, because I mean, even Kale did end up becoming a legendary Super Saiyan, even though she was raised under relatively normal by the standard of the planet that she was on. She was able to unlock it, maybe not to the whole degree that Broly did in this movie, because clearly, like, his legendary Super Saiyan form was way more powerful than she was.
Yeah, absolutely.
But her is more control by the end of the Tournament of Power.
Well, when she got over that jealousy bullshit.
Yeah. for her Onesan.
Yeah. So we are in agreement that it's certainly a nature nurture type thing.
Yeah. But like I feel like there are benefit of being raised on Earth if Broly had
sorry, you cut out there a minute.
Like I say, I feel like it would have been there would have been like pros and cons to both things, right?
True, makes sense.
Because like in this case, him being raised on like this harsh planet caused him to be uncontrollable and kind of like a loose cannon. We don't know like when he's gonna gone berserk and just destroy everything around him. As compared to maybe on Earth being raised by Gohan, Grandpa Gohan, he might have been more. He would have had more technique and being raised along with Goku, he would have someone to spare with, and maybe even further develop both of them at the same time. Before Raditz got there.
So you're saying theoretically they may have accelerated at a much higher rate to where Radix wouldn't have even been a problem.
Yeah, but well, maybe not a problem, but like not as much of a threat as he was during that time.
It'd make a good what if.
Yeah, to where like I feel like actually yeah. I'll save that for later.
Yeah.
So yeah, so going back to the movie, they left Frieza there, and I dare say for a whole goddamn hour.
A whole hour.
Because they failed 2 transformation with the fusion dance. Yeah, so Frieza was getting
curve stomped.
He was getting the tail for a whole hour.
He was getting curve stomped. I'll take over this part real quick.
Yeah.
Frieza had his ass handed to him in such a way. The most important thing in life is booty. And that's exactly what Broly was. He was the booty warrior.
It's more important than water.
More important than water. More important than food. Like, that's all he did to Frieza for a straight hour.
A golden man butt.
And even when Frieza went gold, right? We didn't actually get to see that. They cut a lot of that part out.
Yeah.
He still took a beating.
Yeah, he got the work.
He did. He went into gold essentially just so he could sustain the onslaught, not to actually inflict any damage, because it doesn't look like he actually did.
Right.
So
by the time, an hour, for a whole hour, they did him dirty.
They did.
So by the time Gogeta got there, Frieza was in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the same pose as Vegeta was during the original Broly movie.
Yeah, that harkened back to it actually quite nicely.
So the fusion then Gogeta got there. For some reason I did not even remember that we technically didn't see Gogeta until Janemba, right?
Yeah, Janemba. That was one of the movies.
Yeah,
that was when Goku was dead and he was learning how to transform into Super Saiyan level 3.
Right, and that was even canon.
Yeah,
and then they did it in GT, and they retconned it to where GT technically not canon either.
Right.
So this is technically the first time like we see Gogeta canon or canonized in the series. So I thought that was kind of cool. Well, what do you think about that?
I thought the transformation. I mean, because they don't have the earrings, it made sense to introduce them. Because to be honest with you, there's no reason why not to bring him into the continuity, make him canon. The kids, that means we're going to see more of Gotenks and Trunks, or Goten and Trunks do it, which is a fan favorite either which way. I think it works out. Okay. I think it works out incredibly, in that it leads to the argument: what form is stronger? And as they become stronger individually, both of their fusion forms respectively get stronger at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But the rings, though, they can fuse for what, an hour? But if they do the dance, it's only a half hour, yeah?
The earring, was it an hour? It feels like way less.
It feels like way less in the Goku Black Saga. But I know for sure that in this movie, the dance itself, the fusion dance, is only 30 minutes.
Okay. I gotta read up on. I mean, because Kale and Cauliflower didn't even last that long with the earring either.
Well, keep in mind though too, they took, I mean, they took the money shot to the face.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, they took Ultra Instinct money shot to the face. So yeah, that destroyed the earrings, which broke their transformation.
Oh, true.
Yeah, it broke their fusion, I should say.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, Gogeta show up there, and Frieza was like, "Who the fuck are you?"
oh yeah, then they explained to him.
Yeah, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm Goku and Vegeta fused together,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll deal with you later." And Whis was just weaving Broly the whole time,
Yeah, he wasn't even threatened,
chilling,
just chilling.
and
But
and then Whis
I do-
mentioned, "Oh, what's up?"
oh no, good, good.
I was going to say Whis mentioning how Goku and Vegeta can work
Whis
together.
mentioned-
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing I wanted to point out was you with Frieza, you got to see the power gap that Vegeta's always dealing with. Whereas Vegeta always feels like he's chasing Goku, you're seeing Frieza literally doing everything he can, and he's still chasing after Goku and Vegeta. And I thought that was a nice harkening back, if you will.
I mean, even to the very end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was cool. You want to talk about how Gogeta shit broke into a different goddamn dimension?
Okay, so the fight itself, is fucking insane. Like you saw, this is as I don't even think Gogeta was even Super Saiyan Blue yet. He had just or God Blue. They were just in
No.
regular Super Saiyan.
Yeah, he didn't transform to blue until they got to that weird ass dimension, which did not get explained at all.
It didn't. And so Gogeta does basically a Kamea blast, and Broly responds with a key blast of his own, and it literally shatters their dimension temporarily and thrusts them into another.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the time skip dimension.
Yeah, actually, that's actually that's actually a perfect description, I think.
Yeah,
That's actually a perfect
so like when I saw it, I'm like, bro, what the fuck is going on? Like,
It was trippy, though.
explain this. Like, even like Gogeta was like, whoa, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
So
Which, actually, actually another example of some crazy shit that it kind of reminds me of. You saw it a little bit back with Mecha Cooler, with instant transmission. Remember how, where Mecha Cooler and Goku were able to move so fast that Vegeta couldn't keep it up, but they were essentially moving through what looks like a pocket dimension in some ways.
yeah,
It kind of gave me that type of vibe a little bit too, but just something.
we got some
more
weird
expansive.
freaking time force or flash speed force shit going on.
Do that.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. So they end up getting into this dimension, and they're fighting it out. And there clearly isn't any limitations in this pocket. I'm not going to call it a pocket dimension, but I'm just going to throw it out there. In this dimension, there's no limitations to it. Like, there is no damage being taken by the dimension itself. It's kind of like a pocket dimension, basically. Energy just disappears, or it dissipates, or whatever the case may be. And eventually, through Gogeta and Broly's exchanges, they end up actually shattering it and coming back to basically back to our reality as the fight continues.
Right.
And as Broly continues to power up, you see more of Gogeta's techniques come out, and it's just slowly but surely wearing him down. That's literally what they're doing. They're just wearing him down.
Yeah. And basically nearing the conclusion of the movie, Chi-Lai and her dude, don't even know his name honestly.
Yeah,
The orange guy, the orange old guy, stole the Dragon Balls, and basically forcing one of Frieza's men to summon the dragon, and asking him how to grant the wish.
Make the wish.
Yeah, and right before the wish happened, Goku or Gogeta decide to use the Kamehameha. I had wished he used like the combination attack. Was it like the Big Bang Kamehameha that
Yeah.
Gogeta used? I
Well,
wish.
not Big Bang. It's like the combination between the Kamehameha and Final Blast.
Oh yeah. So I wish they had used that because that would have been cool. But before the attack hit Broly, he got transferred back to his planet via the wish of the Dragon Balls, and then the balls scatter, and Chi-Lai decided to dip out of there,
That her and a boy grabbed another ship and
Yeah.
we're gone.
and Frieza was about to shoot him down, but Gogeta grabbed his wrist, and he had kind of like a tsundere moment, decided to transform back and left the planet.
And he basically decided to stand down, and he said, "This planet will be mine eventually,
Yeah,
or I'll eventually come back to this planet, I should say."
yeah.
But before that happened, though, because I'm actually, like I said, because I'm kind of messing around with it. Goku and Gogeta put on a hell of a light show, beating Broly down, but he ends up hitting him with that same colorful orb that Gogeta used on Janembe in that movie.
Yeah, it was like the rainbow orb or some shit like that.
Yeah,
It's his
Now,
pride.
the-
It's his pride orb.
it's good shit.
Gogeta's an allies, alright? Shit.
And this right here was like the final confirmation for Goku, I think, mainly, to see if Broly was truly evil or not. Because if he's not evil, it's gonna hurt, but it won't kill him. And I think that's the whole point of that technique in the first place. And when he saw that Broly had survived it, he had like that smile on his face. And I think that's the reason why we didn't get the final Kamehameha wave, because that's overkill.
Okay.
But that's just my way of that's
Actually-
the way I'm interpreting it.
Yeah, that's a good theory. I honestly I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah. So that was the play on that.
Right. And then we got the closing dialogue of Beerus, how everything is handled,
Yep.
blah blah blah, and then Frieza decides to let Chi-Lai go, and saying, oh, while doing that, he was conquering another planet,
Yep.
and saying how he'll let Broly go for now to get domesticated by that green pussy, and he'll come back for him later to use as his soldier to fight Goku and Vegeta. But we know that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. Because he's getting more and more frustrated that no matter how much he raises his battle power,
Yeah.
he's not catching up. But he also, as you had stated earlier on in this, he still displays his concern that if when his little minions were there and be like, well, do you really think they can domesticate him? Do you really think that they can control him? He's like, for all of our sakes, we better hope so.
Yeah.
So I think that was telling.
Yeah. So basically, the end of the movie is Chi-Lai and Broly and the other guy. We're all in the cave eating this the spider alien. They'd say it tastes sour.
Sour.
Which okay, how the spider actually tastes sour? I don't know, bro. And Goku instant transmission there and brought a bunch of stuff from Earth. Basically saying like to take care of Broly and stuff like that because he wanna spar with him again.
And he wants to teach him things too.
Yeah, so possibly more Super Saiyan forms. Super Saiyan 2 Broly.
I hope so.
Actually, I don't know because our legendary Super Saiyan, can they achieve the different stages?
Well,
Because we don't of Super Saiyan, yeah, of Super Saiyan, because we don't see that happening with Kale, but we did see that with Kefla and what's that? Who's that failure of a disciple of Vegeta? Cabbage.
It's Kappa, but
Kaba? Yeah.
but he's not a failure, sir. First thing is with Kale, we saw that she can not only does she have legendary Super Saiyan, but she can actually turn into a Super Saiyan. So
Oh right, yeah.
yeah. So for Broly, that opens up opens up a whole bunch of possibilities.
Yeah, so
Now
I
they
guess
go,
Goku could teach him that.
yeah, he could teach him Super Saiyan, and maybe through his Super Saiyan training, Vegeta's going to have to be involved in that as well.
Hmm.
Maybe he can, which goes back to what I said earlier on. Maybe there are stages to Legendary Super Saiyan, and as they help Broly kind of learn how to go through that and learn how to control it, maybe Goku and Vegeta can actually achieve that themselves. Because I think that's the next step.
Okay. That would be pretty cool to see. I just hope that in the anime, if they are gonna go with that route, I hope they actually like show us the process. You know that I think that would be like really cool to watch.
I agree. I agree. And also, because theoretically GT doesn't exist, Green is essentially our Super Saiyan 4. Our legendary Super Saiyan becomes like will become like Super Saiyan 4, if you will.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. That'll be our new form moving forward if GT doesn't exist.
But that but would legendary Super Saiyan be over Blue? Blue is a god. Blue is a god form.
Yeah, Blue's a god form, but like seeing what Broly has been able to do, I mean, I don't know. He may be that outlier, just like Kale is.
Yeah,
that's a good question, though.
Because I imagine like with the training, he would achieve what Kale could, which is to keep his mind under control while in the legendary Super Saiyan 4. Maybe doesn't have as much of the innate Great Ape power being drawn from it, but maybe with time he can draw more and more of the power without losing his sanity.
True.
So yeah, that's basically the whole movie.
Yeah.
Well, how you feel about it?
The movie overall, outside of I think outside of all the action, because it's mainly action more than dialogue or whatnot. But I think the action speaks for itself, and I think it opens up Pandora's box in a lot of ways, because there is a lot of stuff I wouldn't necessarily say that was retconned, but there's a lot of stuff that needs to be explained. I also think that visually, the fucking movie was amazing. The movie's absolutely fucking beautiful, and you know, if you haven't seen it in a while, or if you haven't seen it at all, you can find it on YouTube. It's free and whatnot. Shit, I'll even put a link down in the description to at least one of our sources.
Right.
You can. I'm sorry.
Oh right. I'm sorry. Right.
Yeah. So you can see why this movie did so well, not just in the United States, but internationally. It brings everything together, and I think it was a very good way of retelling the Broly story without having to give us multiple sequels like Dragon Ball Z did. You know what I'm saying? Even though I enjoy those movie sequels of Broly, Broly's been in 3 of them. Well, he's been in 2, and then the third one was a clone. I like this a whole lot better, and more importantly, it slowly but surely brings another Saiyan back into the circle, back into the fold, if you will.
It incorporates into the story well.
Exactly. And I wonder, because I think it has to happen, sooner than later, Broly's coming to Earth. Broly's gonna have to live there.
Yeah. Well,
like, I don't like the idea of him living off planet, or maybe not.
I think I like that idea better, of him kind of like being an ally to the Z Fighter, but he doesn't technically have to live on the same planet.
Right, fair enough. So, well, let's at least put him on a closer planet instead of being out where he's at. But I wouldn't even consider him a Z Fighter, though. I feel like the Z Fighters don't even exist anymore. Let's be honest. Like, the Saiyans are the only thing that matters.
It's just Goku and Vegeta.
Yeah, it's just Goku, Vegeta, and now Broly, theoretically.
Sometime Piccolo and Gohan.
True.
And then a sprinkle of Krillin.
A sprinkle of Krillin when he's not depressed over whatever reason. I think if there's another tournament of power, Broly has to be brought into that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And if that's the case, then now that tips the balance, because sorry, I'm going to go off on a small rut. we only saw 8 universes face off in the Tournament of Power. The other 4 were considered too strong, or they were the 4 strongest,
Well, I don't think
right?
that it was strong. It's more like they have uh, a better mortality rate or something like that.
I'm not sure. I will have to look back. I thought those were considered the 4 strongest
Yeah, I don't think.
universes, and that's why they weren't in it.
No, I feel like I don't think they were rated by like their universe like power.
You think they were just chosen randomly?
No, but like it has something with like had something to do with like the development of that universe. 'Cause I was pretty sure that's one of the reason why like some of the planet wasn't uh was chosen to get destroyed was because like either the god of destruction wasn't doing a proper job of uh wiping out a planet, and then the Shinkai basically nurture a new planet to become better. So I feel like that's the case with those other 4 planet, or not planet, 4 universe.
Universe.
Yeah.
That could be possible, but I'm thinking if we get another Tournament of Power, then we get everybody.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean that'd be cool because maybe it's not as much of a risk of having like universe being destroyed, but it could be something like the Tenkaichi tournament where it's being held like once every 6 or 3 years. Like all the universe get together and have like a tournament, and the winner get their wish granted.
possibly, yeah, that could work.
So
That could work.
yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Um, and how as far as how I feel about this movie, like I said earlier, I have conflicting feeling
Mhm.
because I feel like the fight was solid, the animation was solid,
Yeah.
the soundtrack was solid, uh, the plot, I'm kind of iffy on. You know, especially the whole Frieza and Bulma wanting the Dragon Balls for vanity reason, and the only real plot was it's not even a new plot. It's just Frieza blowing up the planet, Vegeta and Paragus taking Paragus going to the off planet to find Broly. But other than that, I feel like the plot wasn't really all that interesting or new.
Mhm.
But that's just me.
I mean, yet again, this opens up. Like I said, he's right. The plot's not particularly special, but it was animated well. I think the fighting actually told the story. But with the flashback, that there were Saiyans who were like, "Yeah, I'm not going back to that planet. I don't give a fuck what Frieza got to say or what his orders are. I'm not going back for whatever reason, whatever their reasons are." That opens up the prospect that we have other Saiyans out there, and eventually we may meet up with them. Now it could be just like Tree of Might all over again. And who was that? Taurus
Turles,
might be.
yeah. I mean, like they introduce a new design for him in Dragon Ball's Hero or some shit like that.
Yeah,
I didn't really watch that series, but I mean they introduced him in that, and he looked kind of like Raditz.
kind of,
long
sort of.
hair.
And I know for a lot of people, they kind of have their feelings about Dragon Ball Heroes. I don't take it seriously. I think it's like your ultimate dream matches. That's essentially all it is, and that's how all I look at it as, to be honest. But obviously, someone at Toei is pulling inspiration from it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So if this movie and how successful it was ends up opening up the floodgates, especially if this is canon or if it eventually becomes canon, if this opens up the floodgates to incorporate more of some of the stuff we saw in Dragon Ball Z, that like from the movies or some concepts that they put out there in a one shot, I'm all for it. To be honest with you, I'm all for it because at the end.
So here's the thing though, like I feel like this is on their way to basically create a whole new team of Z Fighter to where they have to be able to keep up with Goku and Vegeta, right?
Right.
So I feel like that's what they're trying to do, and slowly but surely, a lot of like the old Z Fighter are being pushed out. And like I said, I kind of have conflicting feeling about it if that's the way that they're going.
Right.
So how do you feel about that?
It is now that you brought it up and now that you've said it the way you did, it is kind of daunting because people like Tien, Chaozu,
Who's
Yamcha.
Tien? Who's Tien? I haven't seen that motherfucker in so long.
Don't do that. I think the fact that they are slowly getting pushed out, where the Earthlings, if you will, are starting to get shelved, and now we're bringing the Saiyans in, and we're probably bringing all these other people in. Not only I think honestly, it's sad, but I think it also needs to happen. It's a whole lot bigger than Earth now. Now we're getting into the universes. We're getting into these alternate timeline shits. I think it is what it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? I think this is just the progression. Either we should have, because the series hasn't stopped. It's probably not going to for a while. Because didn't the person who's the voice actress of Goku in Japan, she says she wants us to go on for how much longer?
I think that lady is, bro. She's getting into ages.
Yeah, she's getting up there in age, but she can go on with this shit for another like 20 years or something. I can't remember what the statement was exactly.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised she can still yell.
I mean, shit. She obviously takes good care of herself. So, and obviously Goku is lucrative over there, so it makes sense. A lot of power, a lot of influence. I think if you're going to continue with the series, you have to. You can't. In Dragon Ball Super, when they gave that boost to Krillin. Like that, I don't know what that was. It was almost like his version, or like and it almost like they were opening it up where, you could achieve some pseudo Ultra Instinct, if you will. Not to say that it was Ultra Instinct, but you know what I mean. Like you can continue to untap into your power under the right circumstances.
I feel like it's more like kind of like what Master Roshi did in I was gonna say kind of like what Master Roshi did in the Tournament of Power, and his innate ability to or his ability to kind of like retain his muscle and stuff like that when he needed to.
Okay, fair enough. So if they doing stuff like that for Krillin, Yamcha, Tien, if they ever decide to go that route, that's only going to take them so far.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's clear that they've been overshadowed. Like even with Master Roshi, I would have been incredibly pissed off if they did this. But if he had died in the Tournament of Power, and like if he had died, I should say, and then they wished him back at the very end when everybody else came back, I wouldn't have been mad. But I think the impact of that, I think, would have been long-standing for all of the other characters if you're going to build them up that way. But they clearly didn't do that. I think they need to, if they're going to push the series along, we need new blood. And so keep having them come back as like a reoccurring character or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But they're just not going to have the relevancy they used to.
Yeah, I think having them kind of like in the place that kind of like Master Roshi was for Goku, kind of like a mentor figure or some kind of like voice of wisdom. That would be, it would be good. I think it would be a good way to incorporate them.
I think so. Especially since Tien has his own school.
Yeah.
Krillin is basically a cop, right?
Yeah. So I can see Krillin and Gohan if Gohan's getting pushed out like that.
It might be.
I have hope for Gohan still. I don't know, but
Ugh.
but if he getting pushed out, I can see him and Krillin and possibly 18 and 17 being the mentor for the newer generation, like Trunk and Goten and Pan and Bola, if they unlock the potential, or any other Saiyans like Vegeta's brother Tarbo, if he decides to show up later on, being kind of like a mentor figure for them.
That would be good
Because they all have been through with and Piccolo too, and because they all been through with Goku and Vegeta long enough to understand their fighting style and all that stuff to maybe like guide them into a better direction.
If that's the case, then do you see Goku and Vegeta eventually ascending
Into godhood?
Yeah, like one be like god of either gods in their own right, or one becomes the god of destruction and the other one becomes whatever. Yeah.
I feel like that's the end game Dragon Balls though.
Alright.
So
Alright, cool. We'll make a separate video on that because that's a great discussion point in itself.
yeah. I guess that's pretty much it. I think we've been going for like 2 hours.
Oh wow! All right. We're kind of long-winded here. But yeah, like I said, overall, like I said, I don't have any. I'm not disappointed by the movie. I'm hoping if they capitalize off of it properly, you know what I'm saying? Instead of it, if they capitalize off this correctly or properly, and they give us more, then it works out. Instead of it coming across like just a single cash grab. Not that I'm saying that's what it is, but I'm hoping they just capitalize off this. But overall, I have no disappointments at all. I'm actually very much happy with it, to be honest. So cool. I'm definitely, it revitalized the interest in the Dragon Ball Z community. People still talk about that movie to this day. People are still doing reviews on it. So we're not the first person to do it in our current day and age. I think that speaks a lot. And then, the drama that ended up going on behind the scenes on that bullshit. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that, but you know what I mean? That's a whole thing in itself. But overall, I had a good time. I was satisfied with it for sure.
You want to, shout out your boy who gave us the movie ticket?
Oh, yeah.
3 years ago?
Yeah. Big ups to the Jackal's Lair, who's the one who actually sent us the movie tickets to go off and watch it and to be able to review it. A lot of shit happened in 3 years, clearly. But I've talked to Jackal a bunch of times and whatnot, so he has an understanding, and hopefully this is what you were looking for.
Hopefully he see it.
Yeah, he'll see it. I'll definitely put it out, and we're gonna put it out, but I'll definitely make sure he gets the link for it. And like I said, hopefully for all of you who have made it this far, you'll look forward to what else we have going on. I talk personally a little bit about wrestling, and both of us are big fans of different manga and anime series. So there'll be a bunch of other episodes talking about Dragon Ball,
right,
or Dragon Ball Super, One Piece, as well as anything else that we feel that is.
Yeah, we'll try to get it up and when we can, but probably a lot of anime and manga reviews and possibly reactions when we decide to do them. And then kind of like what we were talking about before, a what if series where we're going over different scenarios throughout animes that could have happened and stuff like that. We do have a few old videos from our old channel that got wiped off the face of YouTube.
Yeah.
That we could upload. So yeah, just let us know what how you feel about us doing that. But yeah.
So there's a lot to come and whatnot. We'll try to we'll try to be as consistent as we can with the uploads. It obviously it'll depend on what's going on and whatnot. Real life has its own precedents, but we look forward to rebuilding and kind of starting over. And I think it'll be hopping
back into the anime mafia.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, if you can find any old videos that are on that, I haven't. Most of those got wiped.
Yeah.
Most of that shit got wiped. A lot of the drama that went on with that. That's really, for some of you guys who are listening, that's really old stuff. Back when
when we only have 50 sub. On our old anime channel.
Yeah, that's when. Shoot, man. The anime community had changed a lot. You know what I'm saying? If you think about it, in 4 or 5 years. So,
for better or worse.
Yeah, for better or worse. But it's good to see that people like Rogers Base, King of Lightning, just to name a few, are still around. You know what I'm saying? So,
and with upcoming year, there should be Bleach coming back, I believe.
Hell yeah.
It's for the Thousand Year Blood War arc. So definitely, I'm gonna be on that.
Yep.
Whether it's for reaction to anime or reviewing, I'll probably be on that. As long as it got, as long as it got a good company to do it.
Right.
So.
Absolutely.
And yeah. Anything else you want to say before it closes?
Nah, go ahead and close out. Like I said, thank you guys for listening in, and we'll see you guys next time. Basically.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.